It's the rookie versus the vet. Drake May, the Heisman, one of the Heisman frontrunners in my opinion, 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2,900 yards versus the vet, Sam Hartman, who missed a couple games at the beginning of the season, made his debut against Vanderbilt and has been on fire pretty much the entire season. He struggled last weekend against NC State, who in my opinion is probably the best defense in the ACC at this point, right up there with Clemson. And he struggled a little bit. Threw 3 interceptions. He did throw for almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns, though. But on the season, he's got 2,400 yards. Sam Hartman was one of my players to watch, quarterbacks to watch in the preseason. If you didn't check out that video, I think I listed Devin Leary, Sam Hartman, Bijan, a couple other guys that ultimately would be leaders and impact players on their team. Drake May was kind of one of my rising stars, guys that honestly, a lot of people didn't even know if he was going to get the start or not. Eventually he did after fall camp, and they haven't looked back. He's going to be a 3-year starter in North Carolina, if not a 4-year starter. He's absolutely electric. He should find his way to New York. I think Bo Nix should be there. Hendon Hooker maybe, Stroud, not Bryce. I would love to see Drake May and Bo Nix in New York for the Heisman ceremony, but we're not going to cover that in this video. So, talking about North Carolina versus Wake Forest, though, it's a very interesting matchup because North Carolina is putting up 40 points per game. Wake Forest is putting up 37. Both of these teams can throw the ball. We were able to see Wake Forest struggle against a elusive running quarterback of MJ Morris against NC State last week. NC State won that one 30-21. And if you've looked at Wake Forest's last 2 games, they have turned the ball over, God, I don't even know, 10 times. Louisville, their second half, I don't think they scored a point. I'm pretty sure it was nothing but turnovers here. If you aren't familiar, I'm just going to read off their second half for Wake Forest. Pick 6, fumble, interception, fumble, punt, interception for a touchdown, so another pick 6, fumble, interception, touchdown with a minute to play. So you've got I think I counted 10 turnovers in the second half against Louisville. So you're not going to win that one, and then you turn the ball over another 3 times just through interceptions against North Carolina State. So if North Carolina is able to force some turnovers from Wake Forest, ultimately they're going to win this game. North Carolina is a very, very electric offense. I don't really trust their defense all that too well. They're giving up 457 yards per game, which has got to be up there in ranks in the country. I didn't look it up, but I know it's up there. It's got to be. But you're also putting up 500 yards of offense. You're allowing 31 points per game, which when you look at this, I think the over is at 76, and a lot of people are, it's going over. I don't necessarily take that route because Wake Forest last year made their way on the ground. They were a really, really good run game. They had a really, really good offensive line. And when you let Sam Hartman sit back there and you have the run game, it's going to open up the pass. And when Sam Hartman can deal and dime at will, Wake Forest is probably going to determine how this game plays. If Wake Forest is able to run the ball how they want to, 123 yards on the ground per game, North Carolina allowing 180, that's absurd. But I think everything tells me North Carolina should make it and play for the ACC championship game. I'm pulling up the ACC standings really quick. You've got North Carolina, who is 5-0 in conference play. I think they play Georgia Tech. They've only got one more coastal opponent, which is Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech's not going to beat them. The problem is I don't know if North Carolina can get past Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a 3-point favorite at home, and I kind of like that line the more I'm thinking about how this game will play out. North Carolina gave up 35 points to Duke, only beat Miami by 3, beat Virginia by 3. I trust North Carolina's offense. I think I said a second ago they're electrifying. They can score points. Drake May's unbelievable. North Carolina is going to hang 30-plus in this football game. I just don't know that their defense can get enough stops. And I'm not talking about forcing turnovers. I'm talking about getting stops in the red zone on third down, things of that nature to ultimately win the football game. Because Wake Forest has just been really, really dominant offensively the last couple of years. That's why they've won so many games that they have. I'm trying to see where Wake Forest is number 27 in the country in third down conversions offensively. If they have that stat and they don't turn the ball over, Wake Forest wins this game. If you don't have one of those, I think North Carolina wins it. If North Carolina can get you off the field on third down and let their offense, be on the field for 35 minutes, 30 minutes of this game, North Carolina is going to win it. But if Wake Forest can get that 35 mark somewhere in there, make it half and half, I think Wake Forest can keep pace, and ultimately Wake Forest can probably get it done. Because I think for Wake Forest to win this game, Wake Forest needs to have North Carolina score in low 30s, outscore them with 38 points, win the game with 34. If North Carolina scores 40 plus, they're going to win the game. If Wake Forest has 3 turnovers again, they're going to lose the game. If you're Wake Forest, get the ground game going. Make sure, you're letting Sam Hartman have time to throw it. North Carolina isn't, dropping 8 into coverage every play or dropping 7 into coverage, not blitzing or something like that. That to me is the difference maker. If Wake Forest can dictate this game offensively, they should pretty much have their way with winning this football game. If North Carolina can keep their offense on the field, and I'm not even talking about just long drives, I'm talking about just get them on the field. If they're on the field, they score points. I don't know what their drive scoring percentage is. I don't know where to find that. I'm sure if I looked deep enough, I could. But when North Carolina is on the field, they're putting up 41 points per game. If North Carolina scores over 40, I don't think Wake Forest can keep pace because of what I've seen out of Wake Forest these last 2 weeks. Now, Boston College is absolutely atrocious, and they struggled in that one too. They were only up 21-9 at half. They ended up winning that one 43-15, but Boston College is absolutely atrocious. I did the same game parlay on Duke last week against Boston College. I don't know who Boston College plays this week. I'll probably do the same thing. They play NC State. I'll probably do the same thing on Saturday. Boston College is not good. Wake Forest has struggled 3 weeks in a row, all after the bye week. I don't know what's going on in Wake Forest, but final prediction, if North Carolina scores 40 plus, North Carolina wins the game. If Wake Forest can convert third downs and win the turnover battle, Wake Forest wins it. So that's the keys to victory for both teams. I'm going to ride my gut here, and I'm going to go on a limb and say Wake Forest wins it. I'm not 100% confident in that because I'm banking on Wake Forest not turning the ball over. But I just don't trust North Carolina's defense. I think if North Carolina's D can't get the stops they need to, Wake Forest can dictate this one and probably run away with it. I think Wake goes to more of a ground game. And they're running for 120 yards, like I said earlier. But when you look at rushing yards allowed for North Carolina, 180 is up there. If Wake can dictate that part, stay on the game, win the time of possession, Wake Forest should win this game. And I'm a big fan of North Carolina. I'm looking forward to watching them play, I guess, Clemson in the ACC championship game. I'd love to see North Carolina win that one. I just don't know if they can get past Wake Forest on Saturday. Potential trap game, call it what you want. Let me know in the comment section how you guys see this game playing out. I'm a big North Carolina fan, especially a big Drake May fan. I just don't know if the veteran leadership with Sam Hartman and the wounded animal mode of Wake Forest is enough for North Carolina to overcome.